Close your eyes and remember the living room of 1968. It was the heart of the home, dominated by a massive wood-paneled console that weighed nearly as much as a small car. This was the television. It wasn't a flat, cold piece of glass. It was a warm, humming machine filled with glowing vacuum tubes and the faint smell of ozone. When that screen went dark or the picture began to roll, the world didn't end. You didn't drive to a big box store to throw the whole machine into a dumpster. Instead, you made a phone call. Within the hour, a man arrived at your doorstep. He carried a heavy black leather case filled with magic. He was the TV repairman. He would pull that heavy console away from the wall, remove the back panel, and let you peer into the glowing city of wires and glass inside. He'd test a few tubes, find the one that had burnt out, and replace it for a few dollars. In the golden age, the relationship between a man and his machines was one of ownership. If you bought it, you understood it. If it broke, it could be healed. There was a local fix-it shop on every corner, men who made a middle-class living by keeping the neighborhood's electronics alive for decades. But as we look at the thin, plastic smart TVs of 2026, we realize the repairman has vanished. He didn't just retire, he was engineered out of existence. Today, if your TV fails, the repair costs more than a new unit. We have traded the healing of our machines for a cycle of disposal. To understand why the TV repairman died, we have to look beneath the plastic casing. We have to uncover the 1980s silicon pivot that turned us from owners into mere licensees of our own property. The first layer of our archaeology takes us to the late 1970s and early 80s, the transition from analog to digital. In the analog era, a TV was a collection of discrete parts. You could see the capacitor, you could touch the resistor. The logic of the machine was physical. But the silicone revolution changed the rules. The thousands of glowing tubes and wires were shrunk down into a single fingernail-sized piece of silicone, the microchip. This was marketed as progress, and in terms of weight and clarity, it was. But in terms of financial sovereignty, it was a heist. You see, a vacuum tube is a commodity. Anyone can make it, and anyone can buy it. But a microchip is intellectual property. When corporations moved the soul of the machine into a chip, they also moved the right to fix it into their legal departments. By the mid-1980s, manufacturers began to use proprietary parts. They stopped selling the blueprints to local shops. They started using surface mount technology that required million-dollar machines to repair. The local repairman, with his soldering iron and his box of tubes, was suddenly locked out. This was the birth of the black box economy. Corporations realized that if a machine was user-serviceable, their profits were limited by the lifespan of the hardware. But if the machine was a black box that only they could open, they controlled the refresh cycle. They didn't want the TV to last 20 years. They wanted you to buy the new model every 5. They used patent law as a wall to keep the neighborhood repairman out of your living room. As we move into the 1990s, the economic archaeology reveals the second phase of the death of repair, the global price race. To kill the repair economy, corporations had to make new so cheap that fixing felt irrational. They moved their factories to regions with the lowest labor costs and the fewest environmental protections. They replaced heavy steel and glass with thin plastic and glue-bonded components. In 1970, a high-quality TV cost roughly $400, which is about $3,000 in today's money. For that price, you demanded repairability. You expected it to be a lifelong asset. But today, you can buy a 55-inch TV for $300. This is the price illusion. The TV is cheap because it is designed to be a disposable unit. The manufacturers have calculated the economic life down to the day.
They know the LED backlight will fail in 3 to 7 years. They know the software will become obsolete and stop supporting your favorite apps. When you call for a repair today, the technician tells you the panel is broken. The cost of the panel is 90% of the cost of a new TV. This is planned failure. By making the core component unrepairable, they force you back onto the consumer treadmill. The TV repairman didn't die because he was slow or expensive. He died because the math of quality was replaced by the math of disposal. We aren't buying TVs anymore. We're buying viewing subscriptions that happen to come in a plastic box.
This economic archaeology isn't just about electronics. It's about the death of service. We see the same ghost when we look for the milkman. In the 1960s, the milkman wasn't just a delivery driver. He was a sentinel of the neighborhood. He knew when your porch light was out. He knew when an elderly neighbor hadn't picked up their bottles in 2 days. He was part of a human-scale economy. Why did he disappear? It wasn't that we stopped drinking milk. It was that the big retail model of the 1970s prioritized centralized efficiency over local service. The supermarkets realized they could use milk as a loss leader, selling it at a price no local delivery could match, to get you through their doors so they could sell you the high-margin processed junk we discussed in our grocery investigation. When the milkman died and the TV repairman vanished, we lost more than just a service. We lost local accountability. When a machine breaks today, you deal with a chatbot or a call center 10,000 miles away. There is no handshake economy left. The corporations have successfully removed the human element from our transactions because humans are expensive and opinionated. A chatbot doesn't care if your TV breaks. A local repairman does because his reputation depends on it. For the 50-plus demographic, this is the silent squeeze. We are surrounded by more tech than ever, but we have less control over our environment than our parents did with a simple screwdriver and a box of tubes. So, standing among the graveyards of flat-screen TVs and the memories of the milkman's chime, what is our golden insight? How do we protect our wealth and our sanity in a black box world? First, we must support the right to repair movement. This is the most important financial legislation of our era. It is the fight to force corporations to release blueprints and sell parts to the public. By supporting right to repair, you are fighting for the right to actually own what you pay for. Second, we must value the analog. In an age of disposable junk, the most secure assets are often the ones with the fewest microchips. A mechanical watch, a vintage stereo, or a classic car aren't just hobbies. They are hedges against obsolescence. They are machines that you can heal. They have resale value because they have repair value. Third, seek out the last of the repairmen. They still exist, often in small shops on the edge of town or in online communities. Before you throw away a $1,000 appliance, do the archaeology. Find the independent who still knows how to solder a board or replace a pump. Paying him $150 to save a $1,000 machine is the best investment you can make. The TV repairman is a ghost, but his spirit, the spirit of maintenance and stewardship, is what built the American middle class. We cannot bring back the glowing vacuum tubes of 1968, but we can stop playing the disposal game. We can stop seeing our homes as subscription services and start seeing them as fortresses of quality. Ownership isn't just about having the receipt, it's about having the power to fix. Before we go, I want to ask you, what is the one thing you used to have fixed, but now you're forced to throw away? Is it your shoes, your toaster, your TV? Share your repair story in the comments below. Let's bring the fix-it economy back to life, one story at a time. Thank you for watching the Golden Age Insight.